right, we'll get started here. We have Evelyn Stevens, the women's winner today in time of 55:49. We're also joined by Kristen Armstrong, an Olympic gold medalist, and who's now representing the Exergy 2016 team, and also her athlete, Kristen McGrath, who was third in the race, and TJ Van Garderen, of course, today's not only stage winner, but retaining the yellow jersey for the second day. Evelyn, let's start with you. A lot of talk about the winds out there today. So from your perspective, what was it like early on? And then obviously comment on the climb going up here, which was pretty nasty.
I've ridden the course 2 days in a row now, and so you knew that it was going to be a big yaw factor. I couldn't wait to drop that. But I rode a 9. I didn't actually ride a disc wheel. I rode a 9 in the back and then the 6 in the front. The wind's there, but you just kind of got to go and get aero and just push through it. And then, you knew the climb was coming. It was hard, but it was kind of, it was so hard you don't really think. You just got to go as hard as you can once you get to it.
And what was your gearing on the steepest part of the climb?
I rode 11:26.
Kristen, on to you. Day like this make you want to get back on the bike, first of all, and then can you comment on obviously your athlete's performance today?
Yesterday my husband and I pre-rode the course because I still have that time trial mode, and the first thing he said in the car was, "Man, on that descent, it's so technical. I'm so glad that you're not racing tomorrow because I don't want to follow you in a car because it looks so dangerous." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "But gosh, it'd be so cool to race this course." And he said, "Repeat after me. You are retired and you are finished." So I still get that adrenaline. I woke up early this morning like I was racing. I had that anxiety for all the riders out there today. I was really excited for everyone. And so it was like a time trial day for me. I was able to do some coverage with Tour Tracker today on behalf of the women's race, and so that was a lot of fun to follow. And at the end of the day, our Exergy 2016 rider, Kristen McGrath, had the time trial of her career in third place. So I think it's a really good lead-in into Chattanooga next week. And though Chattanooga doesn't have a 10% 1.6-mile climb at the end, I still think that the time trial is the race of truth, and it's all about your fitness. So I do think that you'll see similar women in the top 5 in Chattanooga.
All right. On to you, TJ. Obviously, with the tent here moving, feels like we're in a sail. But comment on the winds, and my understanding it was a tailwind going out, coming back along the lake, and then back, I guess, on that frontage road on 101 was a headwind, if I understand. And then take us through the climb as well.
The wind was definitely a big factor today. Starting out, I didn't really feel the tailwind that you're talking about. It's to be honest, it felt like headwind the whole way to me. There was just never really very many moments in the race where you can recover. You started out up this pretty good solid climb, and then it's falls flat uphill, falls flat downhill that you still need to pedal, and then up another climb. The only time you could really recover was on this technical descent, but there you're like holding your breath trying not to crash. And then that long straight headwind section to me was actually harder than the climb itself. It was you really had to stay focused and motivated there. And then obviously the climb to the finish was brutal. It was a very interesting route that Amgen Tour California chose, and very dynamic, a little bit of everything in there, and it added a special element to the race.
Questions? We've got a wireless here. Guillermo has it. Elliot.
Hi, TJ. Elliot Ullman, San Jose Mercury News. You had a really good race up to Metcalf at that point, but without the radio contact, you said you were flying blind a little bit. Can you just take us through what it's like to be that isolated in a time trial?
Well, It didn't really make a difference. I had my SRM, and so I kind of knew what power I needed to shoot for, and I sometimes going without a radio, if you're in the right mindset, which I was, you can kind of, you don't need it. You just kind of have tunnel vision. Sometimes it's nice to hear time splits of other guys on the road, but every now and then you don't really want to hear that because you think you're better, or maybe you don't want to hear that you're doing bad. So the radio didn't really play into it very much. But real quick, I want to say one thing. I just want to say thank you to the Tour of California for having a women's race. And it was, it's something that, I've always felt strongly about, but especially now having a daughter who might grow up to want to be a bike racer. And I just think it's something important that we have to do. I mean, it's women's cycling obviously struggles a little bit for publicity, and compared to the men's side. And it's something that I hope when my daughter is these guys,
Not my age.
their age, that she'll have these opportunities.
TJ, Mike Marino for Velo. On that note, another racer earlier today who won a women's time trial stage said she would like maybe one more stage, maybe one more than that, maybe even all 8 stages. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea. My wife, Jessica Phillips, she put on a race in Aspen that coincided with the USA Pro Challenge, and I think it was a huge success. It was actually won by Kristen Armstrong in its first year, and it was great because a lot of times these people they're waiting at the VIP tent, and they're kind of waiting, looking at the screen, sipping on wine, maybe getting a little bit bored until the riders come in, and then we zip by and it's done. Well, they had like a women's crit before the men came in. They were cleared out by the time we came, so it kept them entertained. They watched a race for an hour, and then they got to watch us come in, so they got way more entertainment value out of it. And it not only is it great for the women's cycling, but it's great for the spectators, and the roads are already closed, so I don't think it would be too much of an ask to have to put a women's stage on probably every stage that we do.
Kristen, you've been hearing this kind of talk your whole career. Now you're retired. What, in your view, is the biggest obstacle to doing what TJ was talking about? Is it money? Is it will? Is it cultural bias? What is it?
I think that a lot of sponsors, when they look at putting on a race and sponsoring a race, it's all about broadcast and getting out to those viewers. Well, when you go to a huge broadcast company and they're interested in men and not necessarily women, that's a problem. It's all about how the media portrays it. When the women won, the first time they won the big World Cup soccer was huge for at least 4 years. When they lost, it wasn't big anymore. And so we let the media dictate what people think. The media dictates what sponsors think. I call them the they. They tell us if the economy's good, they tell us if the economy's bad, and who are they? I think that the big obstacle when it comes to having a women's race coincide with the men's race, from what I hear, is, it takes, if you can see the great job that Medalist and Amgen and everyone does to put on the men's race. I was part of that logistical piece today, and it takes manpower. It takes a lot more people to get involved, which also in the end, it takes money. And so I think that what Amgen's done for us, it is a start. I think that to get a high-profile bike race and to include women is a huge start. I think that what XG Tour did last year in Boise, Idaho was amazing. Unfortunately, no race is going to live on forever with one sponsor behind them. And that's what happened, unfortunately, with the XG Tour, is that there was one sponsor behind it, and it can't sustain itself year after year. And so I think that we've tried, and I think the best method is, we can't separate from the men. It's just like in Europe when we have World Cups that coincide with the men's World Cups. It is just like TJ said. We are just a race within that race. The roads are closed for hours beforehand, and they're closed for a period after. But if that race, just like Philly, if that women's race is within that men's race, and we get some of course, Bonnie, it always comes down to dollars, because I see how hard and how stretched the Amgen and medalist team are already, just doing what they do to make it happen. So I do think it's funding, but at the end of the day, I think that it takes a really passionate person, whether it's the CEO of a company, whatever it may be, that really loves cycling. Because at the end of the day, the passion around the sport is what's driving this sport, especially when it comes to women.
Hi, TJ. When you started the climb, you got Mick and Anier in your sights. When that happens, can you tell us, does that make it easier to get up that climb? Do they almost pull you up? A little inspiration, or what's going on in your mind?
No, it did not feel like I was being pulled up that climb. That climb still hurt. It definitely gave me some motivation. I mean, like I said, I didn't have the radio, so I didn't know really what the time splits were. But then when I could see he was close, I kind of realized, like, okay, I'm on a good one. But no, that there was no like wind in the sails or anything. It was still slogging up that climb, and it hurt like hell.
TJ, Mick changed bikes. Did you consider that? Did the not having the radio play into the decision to not do that? How did that work out?
We, I actually did a lot of thinking with some of the guys on my team. Marco Pinotti, who's incredibly smart. He's he has an engineering degree or whatever. I don't know. He's really smart. He's really into these numbers and stuff. And he did the bike change, and he had all these calculations. And he said, okay, if you can do a 15-second bike change, the overall gain would be 5 seconds. And then he did a couple of practice runs, got his change down to 11 seconds. So I was thinking, like, okay, if you can do a really quick bike change, you can maybe get a maximal gain of 9 seconds. And I had 42 seconds going into this stage. So I was kind of thinking, like, if something goes wrong in the bike change, even if it's a little bit faster, it wasn't worth the risk. So I think it was overall quicker to get a bike change, but I was erring on the side of caution because you never know if something can go wrong. You slip a pedal, your mechanic messes something up, or it doesn't go that smoothly. So I just I knew I could produce power on my time trial bike, so I just put that out of the equation and didn't do it. No. The thing that you have to do is don't second guess yourself. You make a decision and be confident with it, and confidence, that's the key factor.
TJ, if you're able to consolidate tomorrow, you're on the verge of doing something you've wanted to do for a very, very long time, and that's win a stage race. So what is the appropriate mindset for you overnight? What are you going to be telling yourself tonight and tomorrow morning?
I'm going to need to just stay calm, stay relaxed, make sure I get a good night's sleep. Not losing any sleep is going to be pretty key. And then I just need to rely heavily on my team. Tomorrow's a hard day, and it's a day that you can't do on your own. It's going to take 100% team commitment to control the breakaways, which are going to just go insane, and control the climb to the last couple of K to where I can just follow the last few attacks. I have a comfortable buffer, so I think that definitely puts my mind at a little ease. But it's still going to be a day that's not only going to be hard for me, but very hard for my team.
TJ, just sort of following up what Bonnie asked you, on the verge of winning your first sort of big stage race, people are kind of anointing you, and Americans have been looking for the next big cyclist. We've been writing about you, talking about you as perhaps one of those guys. Now you're on the verge of being there. How does that feel?
It's an honor. It's I mean, I feel like I don't feel like a responsibility, or I don't think that's the right word choice, but it's certainly an honor, and I'm glad that the American fans, I can give them something to cheer about, and maybe something to give them a little hope after recent events, and just hopefully keep them excited about bike racing.
We'll take one more question, and then we're also going to do a photo op here with both of today's winners. And we'll have an update on Dave Zabriskie and Amber Neben, hopefully by the time we get down to the press room. And finally, a note, I do have a quote from Mick Rogers that I can play after the athletes have been dismissed. So one more question.
House cleaning question. I apologize for asking it, TJ, but you brought your baby came up to the stage. Your daughter, what's her name?
Rylan.
Rylan. Can you spell that?
Rylan.
And then I'll ask the final question. Thanks. So you were saying that this entire course was intense. I mean, was it just you had to be on guard the whole way? There was no chance to. How much energy does that take out of you when it's a race like that or stage like that?
How much energy does it take? I'd have to look at my SRM. I think it was about 1,000 kilojoules or something like that. It takes. It's a different kind of energy. Like it's a very intense sort of energy where you're out of breath, but you recover from it pretty quick. So I'm not worried about having sore legs for tomorrow or anything. It's an effort that's like racing a classic or something that's 260K. That's that kind of adds like a deep fatigue in your legs, whereas this adds like an intense burn, but then you recover quicker. So it's not. I'm not worried about tomorrow, if that's what you're asking.
And did you have a max watts going on? I'm talking to Rohan Dennis. He had 809. I don't know if you even looked at your.
My average for the day was 400, but I don't know what my max was.
Okay.
It was, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to do a photo op here with Evelyn and TJ.